Are you finding it challenging to get everything done? Maybe you are looking at other authors who seem to be cranking out books left and right, and you are left wondering, how in the world can you keep up? Hey, I'm Britt from Thriving Scribes, where I help indie authors create sustainable careers through publishing their fiction works. So if you are a fiction author looking to self-publish your books and make a living through that, definitely give this video a like and subscribe to my channel because I share tips every single week on how to do just that. So, if you heard the intro of this video, you know we are going to be talking about productivity. But before I really dive into the tips on staying productive and focused, first I want to make a really important distinction. In Thriving Scribes, one of the major shifts that I want my authors to make is to move away from hustle culture and more into thriving culture. So, most of what we hear about when it comes to productivity in the author world is that you have to crank out more words, you have to do more things, you have to work more, create more, put that nose to the grindstone, right? And I feel like that is the message that so many authors are given when it comes to talking about productivity. And there's a funny meme that goes around right now that says something like, entrepreneurs are the only groups of people that will work 80 hours in order to keep from working 40 hours. And every time I see that pop up on my feed, I kind of giggle a little bit because I feel like it also applies to so many of us authors. But what I really want for you, for all of us, is to step away from that hustle culture, from feeling like we have to be on all of the time, do more, write more words, and crank out more things. So I have some mantras for you today.
So, hustle culture will have you believe and have you saying to yourself, I need more time. While Thriving Scribes culture, we encourage the understanding that I have exactly the time that I need. The things that I want to do are doable and achievable.
So when I start to feel overwhelmed with all of the things that I have got going on, what I like to do is just place my hand right here on my heart and tell myself, I have exactly the time that I need.
Hustle culture will also leave you saying, I am at the mercy of my calendar, my due dates, my self-imposed deadlines. While Thriving Scribe cultures pulls it back, reels it back in, and encourages us to believe that I am in charge of my day, right? We are in charge of what we get done, how we focus, when we focus, and making the time to get that done. Hustle culture will have you saying, be more productive, create more, write more, get more done, right? While Thriving Scribe culture encourages you, instead of focusing on being more productive, our focus is on being more focused.
You don't need more time. You need more focus. Because if you don't have focus, if you are not focusing, you could have all of the time in the world and still not reach your goals. The truth is that focus can be so powerful, and focus is a term that I like to use that can apply to so many different areas of our business. So it can apply to the big picture stuff, like knowing what phase of authorship you're currently in and what your priorities need to be at that moment of time in order to hit the next level, in order to make growth, in order to get things done. Focus can also mean down to the smallest moments when you are, in the trenches, when you are getting the work done, and you have to stay focused on a task. Because studies have shown us that when we are multitasking, when we hop from one task to the other, it can take your brain up to 23 minutes to focus on that task at hand. And so that is a whole lot of wasted time that we use from hopping and bopping from one thing to the other. When if we would have just stayed focused on the one thing that we are needing to work on in that moment, the one thing that we decided was today's task, we would have been able to be fully focused on that and get more done without wasting any of your mind power, right? So now that we have made that distinction between hustle culture and the culture that I teach over at Thriving Scribes, let's go ahead and start looking at those ways which you can use to increase and maximize your productivity and your focus time. We're going to start from big picture things and we're going to move our way down to smaller nitty gritty type things that you can use to maximize that productivity. So let's start with the first one, which is going to be to know what stage you are in. When it comes to authorship, I always like to say that it is a journey, and everybody has to start at point A and work their way all the way up to their big, dreamy vision of what they want for their author career. When you zoom in and you begin to break that journey down into different pieces, you begin to realize that there are different phases and stages that an author goes through when it comes to building their business and their career. And knowing what stage you are in and what are the things that you really need to be prioritizing in that moment in time so that you can master that stage and get all of those things put in place that are going to help you grow to that next stage in business, to hit that next level of growth and to reach your next goals. That is so incredibly important. Like I mentioned earlier in this video, focus can be so powerful. So understanding whether you are an author in, in the foundational stages of growing their business, or if you are an author in the growth stage of their business, is going to be so helpful for you because you're going to be able to prioritize where your time can be put, where it should be put. What are those things that you need to be able to do in order to reach that next level, and how you can begin to schedule that in and implement those things. And so, if you are an author who has no idea what phase they're in and they want a little guidance or support, I do have a quiz for you to take that will ask you a few questions over a few minutes, and it will actually tell you what stage of authorship you are in and give you a personalized action plan for mastering that stage and getting to the next one. You can find that quiz by going to thrivingscribes.com/quiz and get started taking that right now if you want. The second thing is simply making that switch, which I emphasized earlier, from feeling like you have to be productive, produce more, do more, in order to being more focused, right? In order to knowing what your priorities are, where they lie, and what it is that you have to be doing right now in order to make progress towards your goals. Making that switch, that shift is, like I said, so powerful because you begin to minimize instantly that overwhelm of feeling like you have to be this machine where you're always writing, always working, having to show up everywhere and do everything, to knowing exactly what your business and your career needs in that moment, and that's what you need to be working on. So once you know what stage in authorship you are currently in, once you have made that switch from having to be productive to being focused, the next thing here is to actually put that focus time on your calendar. You do not want to fall into the trap that so many people do, saying, I know I have to get this done, but I'll fit it in wherever I can squeeze it. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. That's what you tell yourself, but then time comes and it doesn't get done. You're not showing your business the attention that it needs. You're not giving yourself that time that you need to complete whatever those tasks are that you need to be doing in your business to make progress, right? So, get it set into your calendar. You have to put focus time on your calendar because if you don't, then it's kind of like saying, I know I have to go see the dentist, but I don't have time to do it, so I'm just not going to. Right? But if you need to go to the dentist, then you are going to book that appointment with your dentist. So you have that designated time that you're going and getting that work done. The same thing applies to authorship and to your business. You have got to put in the calendar the time where you're able to focus on doing those business tasks, on writing your books and doing all of the other things that you need to do, but actually getting that into your calendar. This is also important because you cannot, as a human being, be focused all of the time, like all day long. I've had authors that I've talked to and coached who will say something to me like, I am always focused. So in this example, let's say that this author is has no outside job, so they are a full-time author. That means that they are giving themselves 8 hours in their day to do their business tasks, just like they would if they were going to a 9 to 5 job. I will have authors tell me, I'm always focused during that time. But the reality is that as a human being, that's literally impossible to stay focused for that amount of time. Our brains are literally not designed to have to stay focused for extended amount of time. So if you are one of those people who feel like they're bad at focusing, or that you never can find the time to focus, or whenever you do have a focus session, you're failing all of the time because you can't stay focused, give yourself permission to be human. The human brain can only focus for about 90 minutes at a time, like really truly focus before it starts to dwindle off and really not be 100% focused on the task at hand. So, with that said, it's extremely important to actually put those time brackets of focus time into your calendar. If you have a full day that you can dedicate to authorship, amazing. But you cannot tell me that you are going to stay focused that entire amount of time over all of the hours in the day. Instead, make sure you are plugging in focus time into your schedule and get that on the calendar. So, this focus time doesn't have to be long if you don't have that long of time. If it's just a 10-minute focus session here or a 20-minute focus session there, that is better than no scheduled focus time at all, right? So let's talk about 3 ways to make sure that you are putting that focus time on your calendar. I'm going to call this the good way, the better way, and the best way. The good way would to be get your calendar out right now, literally as you're watching this video, look at your calendar for the next week and see where you will have some time for focus time in the coming days. And then put that in your calendar. Plug in a focus session right now. Now, the downside to this, the good way, is that you may not find a big enough chunk of time for you to focus in the coming week. Maybe you have found through testing different things that your ideal amount of focus time is 90 minutes. And so when you're looking at your calendar, you're not seeing an open space for 90 minutes in the coming week. You may not also find an open slot in the best time for you to work. And what I mean by that is maybe you are an author who is really able to focus more in the morning times, or maybe you're somebody who does more focus in the evening. You may not be able to see that time available for you to schedule in that best time slot for yourself, right? Where you are able to be the most focused. So, the better way to do it would be to look at your calendar next week, or the week after, or even 6 weeks from now. Because your calendar in the future, next week, 6 weeks from now, it's not going to be as full as it is right now. And so you'll be able to fit in those focus sessions in those times where you're able to best focus in the future, because it's not as jam packed with things that you've already scheduled in, right? Now, the best way to schedule in this focus time for yourself is to schedule in recurring appointments. I call these appointments, but really these are just times that that repeat each day or each week, that you're going to be able to have a focus session and be able to focus to the best of your abilities during this time and getting whatever your tasks done that need to be done. That is because our brains are highly trainable, right? I'm sure you've learned about Pavlov's law with the bell and the dog. That teaches us that our brains are very highly trainable. And so if you know that, say, for example, every Friday morning that you're going to be sitting down for a focus session of 90 minutes long every single week, then your brain is going to be preparing for that. It's going to know exactly what to do, and you're going to be able to focus more in that time than you would previously, because now it's habitual. And when you do it this way, make sure that you are treating it like an appointment that you've booked with somebody. You're not going to skip it. You're going to show up because it's an appointment for yourself. It's an appointment with you and your business to work on your growth, to work on focusing and getting things done. So those are the good, better, and best ways of scheduling in focus time that are going to help you make momentum and make sure you are having time to achieve the things that you want in your business. The next thing is just to know how you best work. What environment do you best work in? Do you find yourself to be more productive and focused when you are in your office? Maybe it's when you are sitting at the dining room table. Maybe it's when you leave your house and you go and work somewhere else. Maybe it's a co-working environment. Maybe it's the cafe. Whatever it is that you best find your creative juices flowing, you best find that you are able to stay the most focused. So, for example, I'm a mom with kids. I am not going to be able to be 100% focused if I was sitting on the couch while my kids are playing video games or running around the house acting crazy. Instead, I know that I am able to be more focused when I am sitting here at my desk and I've got the office door closed and I can really put on my headphones, my noise canceling headphones, and just really focus during my focus sessions, right? So, knowing what environment you best focus at is going to be useful because when you plan, like we just talked about, when you schedule in those focus sessions, you can make sure that you are in that best environment where you are able to be the most focused. So, just like with where, also consider when. Now, I touched on this a moment ago, but really understanding the way that your mind um, prefers to work is, are you an early bird? Are you able to get up and get your words done and that feels easy and you're able to focus? Or are you like me, you love to sleep in and you would prefer really having focus sessions in the afternoon and you find that really suits your mind, your schedule better? Knowing those things about yourself are going to help you to create the very best environment and time and space for you to have the most maximum productive time that you can. Finally, the next thing here is to create a focus flow. So this kind of touches back on what I mentioned ago about how our brains are very highly trainable and how you can begin to make certain things habitual by booking those appointments at the same time each week with yourself for focus. This expands on that. So when it comes to your focus session, say your focus session has arrived and it's time to really get in the zone, focus, and get your things done that you need to, I recommend that you set up what I call a focus flow, or some people call it a focus ritual. Basically, it's going to be a collection of activities that helps you really get prepared to do this focus session that you're going to be doing. It's going to be a routine that you do when you're sitting down to do your focus work that helps get your mind primed and ready. And you're telling your mind, all right, this is our focus time. It's time for us to sit down and get ready and get this stuff done. So, I'm going to give you an example of what my focus routine looks like or what my focus flow looks like. The first thing that I do is prepare myself in the area. So I'll turn down my phone notifications. I will close any unnecessary tabs that I've got up on my computer. I'll put my noise canceling headphones on. I'll declutter my desk if I have to because I'm one of those people that can get really distracted if I've got a lot of clutter all over my desk. So I'll clear that out. And then I move on to what I call grounding myself. So I'll close my eyes, I'll do some breath work, take some deep breaths in and out, really giving my mind some time to be quiet, to get ready, to relax for a minute, and really just get prepared for the work that we're going to be doing in a moment. So I usually do some breath work. I'll stretch, right, if I need to, clear my mind and body of any built up tension or stress that I might be feeling, and really get ready to be calm and present for the focus session that I'm going to be doing. The next thing that I do is choose what it is I'm going to be working on in that focus session. Remember, focus is extremely important. So I do not come with like this long list of things I've got to get done that I might be multitasking and doing. That's not what focus sessions are for. So instead, what I like to do is choose the one thing or the one category of things that I'm going to be working on in this focus session. So, if this is a writing focus session, then I say I'm going to be writing words, and I'll even set a goal for how many words it is that I'm trying to reach. Or if this is a marketing focus session, I'll say, this is the specific task that I'm working on in this focus session, and this is where all of my energy is going to be going. I even like to write this down somewhere. Maybe I've got a sticky notepad here where I'm writing my task down and I can see it. It's right here in front of me, and it's reminding me if I get distracted, this is what I'm focusing on. This is what I'm working on right now. And the next thing that I like to do, which is optional and doesn't happen every focus session, but it is extremely helpful, is getting some accountability. So, for example, if you are a part of a writing group, that could look like reaching out to that group and saying, hey, I'm doing this focus session and here is my goal for that session. Or if you have maybe an accountability partner, this would be time for you to tell your accountability partner, all right, this is my focus session and this is what I'm working on. Okay. Maybe your accountability would be to actually attend a co-working group or something like that, a sprinting group. And your accountability is being there, being focused with them. Because studies have also shown that when we are around other people who are also and focusing in, a productive way, that it encourages us to do that ourselves and to be less distracted and focus at the task at hand, right? There's that saying that rising tides lift all boats. So that is my focus flow. I do the preparation, I do the grounding work, I pinpoint what I'm working on during that focus session, and then I check in, do some kind of accountability work, whether that's inner accountability or accountability with somebody else or a group of people. And I've found that this focus flow of mine, it just takes 3 to 5 minutes at the beginning of my focus session to do this work. And it really does help me prime my brain and my body for being fully focused on whatever it is I'm working on during my focus time. All right, and so that is it, how to maximize your productivity and your focus as an author, how to shift out of that hustle culture and into focus flow so that you can really begin to achieve the things that you want in a way that feels good and easy and not like you have to be constantly hustling, right? And finally, if you are interested in learning more about the planning strategy that I teach authors so that they can have their best year ever, then definitely go and watch the video that you see on your screen right now, because in that video, I break down the system step by step from planning your annual strategy, breaking it down into quarters, months, weekly, and day to day tasks. So, go watch that video. It's long, but it is so good and filled with value for you to help you begin planning your best year. I'll see you there.